What's up, guys? Peepo here, and this is another video that I'm finally doing in my new abode or home, my relatively new apartment that I've been living in for the last 2 months. So today's video is going to be what's going on in this centric U here. Not actually the centric. I've already done a review of that, and if you haven't seen that, head over to my other video, which should be the one before this. It's the full review of the centric, actually done at the store that I work at, which is Lacrosse Unlimited of Columbia. So the actual review will be about this mesh, which is Shogun mesh from NinjaLax, and this is supposed to be one of their iterations of performance mesh. They have a couple different kinds. They have your Sensei, well, actually Sensei has 2 different forms, but I will be giving another review on those separately. But today is Shogun mesh. Now I'm going to read off what it actually says on this, and what's awesome is they actually have separate descriptions on each of these packagings. So it says advanced pocket technology, the new science of lacrosse, superior ball control, explosive velocity, pinpoint accuracy, extreme weather performance. And then on the back, which is where all the fun goes, designed for elite lacrosse players, Shogun mesh is the game's strongest, lightest, most technically advanced lacrosse mesh. Shogun mesh is 100% waterproof, abrasion resistant, and thermally stable in the harshest weather conditions. Well, I do live in Maryland, so it's kind of the extremes of both directions. Superior pocket consistency and reliability is achieved by using AccuWeave and DuraBridge technology coupled with proprietary fibers. These fibers are 40% stronger than Kevlar. If you don't know what Kevlar is, that's what goes in the body armor that I've used in the Army, or most body armor, and 15 times stronger than steel. Steel? Alright, that's what they want to say. Resulting in a pocket that will throw like a bullet as well as stop one. Well, I would hope, since it's stronger than Kevlar, that it's supposed to do that as well as steel. But I'm not going to be the one to test that theory. Anywho, so this is the mesh. First pulling it out of the packaging, I noticed that it had a very nice feel to it. It had kind of a cold temperature to it, which is part of what they're talking about for extreme weather, whether it's super cold or super hot. Sometimes you get that mesh that kind of freezes when it's in the cold, which is most wax mesh will actually get extremely hard in the cold weather. Like even if there's no snow on the ground, the mesh will just harden, become a shell. It won't be all that great performance-wise. It won't be consistent. It won't be any of that. There is no stretch for this stuff. Like, once you get to the max stretch, which is pretty much once you're done stringing it, or even while you're stringing it, Shogun mesh is going to just straight to the extremes that it's supposed to stretch to, and it does that. More so than most other meshes that I've messed with, but it has that kind of cool temperature to it. Like, if you just leave this mesh kind of just sitting there for a while, and then you pick it up and touch the mesh, it's going to have a cold temperature to it. It's just very interesting. It's a very cool little feature that the mesh has. It's a very tight weave, as you can see. It's not super like your intersections and everything aren't super wide. The actual connection there is very similar to what a lot of mesh has, but there is a little bit of overlap to where the horizontal strength is definitely there. And I've put what did I put in it? I put a 2-pound weight in it, so it's just a very small weight that goes in it, and I left it with I got the mesh completely soaked, put it in there, braced it so that it would just sit there, and it just didn't sink, didn't nothing. The only thing that seemed to stretch a little bit was the sidewall strings that I had in it originally for the test, and then I put, after my testing, I put the NinjaLax string kit that they sent with it into the actual head so that it's NinjaLax with NinjaLax, and it ended up being even better that way. But so it comes with the perfect length of mesh, which is your usual length of mesh. I tried putting 9 diamond and 10 diamond stringing patterns into the head, and both ended up pretty much going exactly where I needed it. If you put the ball in the head, it's going to pretty much sit wherever you want it to. So it's not like some mesh where if you try and string a high pocket, the mesh is going to shift into a mid pocket. But the mesh doesn't necessarily bag out per se, like get bigger at the bottom, even though that's not where you want the pocket. But it does slightly. It's very shifty mesh. I wouldn't say it's semi-hard at all. I would actually say it's almost on the semi-soft side of things. But I don't have a ball. Oh, actually I do, right here. But so, you can use it for face-offs, I would say. Yeah, I would say that you can use it for face-offs. It'll string up pretty much however you want it to. No stretching, like I said. It's gonna be able to actually stretch out. If you're one of those people that likes to really push your mesh to the limit and pull down to like 2, 3 first rows, it's gonna stretch for you. But then it's gonna have that point where it's just like, nope, I'm not going any further. My fibers aren't gonna stretch that far. My weaving is done well. If it were a talking mesh, that's probably what it would say. But so it didn't take any real damage when I was trying to really mess with it. I was rubbing it against the concrete and stuff just to test it out. I mean, anything's gonna give after a while of abuse, but initially there wasn't any real abuse going on. Honestly, if you're one of those people that likes to use just one shooter, I would take my time trying to tune the pocket in. Otherwise, the mesh isn't really going to work exactly the same as most other meshes do, because of that kind of smooth, soft mesh feel that it naturally has. The ball's going to kind of come out a little bit smoother no matter really how you put the shooters in. And I would honestly recommend having a nylon if you want to really feel the ball come out with this mesh. Otherwise, if you're in men's league, just put some U's in like I did, and you're pretty much going to be set as far as feeling the ball come out. But other than that, there's really not much else to say, that other than it's very consistent. There's not high friction points, but there is a decent amount of friction on the ball, so it's not going to come out easily. It's going to hold on to the ball. It's, like I said, very shifty. You're not going to have a problem if you ended up going one-handed and it's going to shift low on you a little bit. Me personally, I like just all-around pockets where you string it mid and then it can go low or it can go high for your shots and passes. But all around, probably some of my favorite mesh. It's definitely moved up into my top 5 meshes, which I'll probably do a nice little video about that later, about what my favorite top 5 meshes are. But this has definitely moved into that list. So hopefully you got a little bit out of this, Matt, out of what goes on with the new Shogun mesh from NinjaLax. If I still had a number rating for things, it would be very high, but all in all, it's one of the better meshes that I've used. And if you're going for something that's not going to fail on you, not going to rip easily or anything like that, I would highly suggest getting some of this mesh. And if memory serves, it's only about $20, maybe max $25 for this piece of mesh, which there is some mesh out there that, I'm going to leave the name out of it, but there is some mesh out there that costs way too much for what it's made out of. But since it's made out of stuff that's similar to Kevlar, I'm not going to argue the fact that it's $20 or a little bit more, because that Kevlar is not cheap. It's not very super cheap material, and whatever this actually is can't be much cheaper. So thanks for watching, guys. I hope you got a little bit of something out of this. And I would have shown you guys Zephyr, but she likes to run around and do things while I'm trying to do the videos, so she's kind of tucked away if you were wondering where she is. But I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I will catch you later, and there's still going to be more reviews. There's still going to be Trad Method Mondays, all that jazz. There's going to be some new stuff coming out, and if you're wondering about my P5 leathers, I am working on those too. So stay tuned and keep laxing, guys. I'll catch you later.